Well, hello there and welcome. This contraption behind me is a survival item dispenser, and this is a tutorial on how you could make it. The way that this works is super simple. You just walk up and press one of the buttons, and it will give you an appropriate amount of whatever item you pushed. So it will give you 64 rockets, it'll give you 64 golden carrots, or 16 ender pearls, or 32 experience orbs, which is just about exactly enough to repair a broken elytra. You can configure this however you'd like. You can pick whatever items you want, and you can do it in whatever quantities you want. They do need to be multiples of 16, but it can be any multiple of 16. These are just some really good examples of items that you might want to put in a dispenser like this. These redstone lamps are indicator lights that will go on whenever inventory is low for a specific item. And this chest up here is where you can restock the dispenser by placing items in it. You can place any of these items in it, and there's a sorting system in back that'll handle putting it into the right place. This contraption is quite compact. A lot of the redstone ends up underground, so above ground you'd be dealing with a building that would be 8 wide by 10 deep by 7 tall. And if you needed it to be a little bit smaller, you could cut out this sorting system in the back, and then it would be 7 deep instead of 10 deep. And I'll show you how to do that during the tutorial. It's worth adding that this is some pretty late game stuff. This device uses well over a stack of observers, which can be quite expensive, and you will need about a double chest worth of each of the items that you want to dispense in order to fill this thing properly. I'll have the material list in the description, but it won't include the items that you want to dispense. To get started, you're probably going to want to dig a hole. It needs to be 10 blocks wide by 11 blocks deep by 7 blocks tall. And that will give you just a little bit of extra room to work with. And I've got the building marked out here as well, which again is 10 blocks deep by 8 blocks wide by 7 blocks tall. And you see it will extend 3 blocks past the end of your hole unless you are not using the sorting system. You're going to want to come over 2 blocks from either edge here, and then you can start building the floor there, and then come back 4 blocks, and then you can start building the wall. You will not need that block there. And then build the wall up 7 blocks. So this is 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then you're going to build it 6 blocks across, like so. And then you can fill all of this in. And you probably will want to take out that block right there, which is 2 over from the right side. And then your second row you can put buttons on. The third row you can put redstone lamps on. The fourth row you can place item frames on. And then up here you can place a double chest like so. And then you'll probably want to put a set of stairs or something like that up above it. You can do that in whatever configuration you want. And then finish up the wall. And you can finish up the floor as well. I wouldn't spend too much time detailing this. There are parts of this that you will end up ripping up in order to get at some of the blocks that you'll need to place underneath there. You can also put the items in the item frames if you want at this point. Next, we're going to want to come down from this hole that we created in the wall here, and we'll do that from the back. Note that I am facing the front right now, and so we'll come down 1 block from there, and we can start placing our droppers. So I'll place 4 droppers here. This is going to be button number 2. So I'm facing the front. The right side of me right here is going to be button number 1. The front facing one, the one towards the front here, is going to be button number 2. The one to the left is going to be button number 3, and the one to the back is going to be button number 4. So the configuration that I've got up there is that these are carrots and rockets. So this one is going to be rockets, this one's going to be carrots, and then so that means on this side we're going to want dispensers, and we're only going to want 2 because we only want 32 items. So these are going to spit out 64. So if you only want 32, so you'd only put 2 of them. So very important, these are droppers. Don't put dispensers on rockets or they'll shoot out the rockets. These are dispensers for the experience orbs. That's the only thing in this configuration that will require experience orbs. And we can place a solid block down here at the bottom. And then on the back side here, let's just place a temporary block there. And we can place one dispenser because we're only going to do 16 ender pearls. If you wanted to do something else, you could do more or less. Well, not less than one, but and then we'll go ahead and fill the rest of them. Any ones you don't use, make sure you fill with solid blocks like so. And then we will probably want to break this block so that we can get out. And then we're going to want to come back down around to the bottom and set up all the observers that are going to fire these. So we can place a temporary block down like that. And we want to place observers pointing so that the redstone is pointing into the dropper or dispenser like so. So you'll have to place them like this. You may have to get up on scaffolding or whatever to do it. Like so. And we'll have to do that with all 4 of these. And then we also want, I'm going to put these in, even for the ones where there's only 2. Doesn't affect anything. It's up to you if you want to do that yourself. You could just put the bottom 2 here. I do kind of recommend that you just put them all in, because if you decide to switch anything around in the future, then all you got to do is change the dispensers or droppers, and you've already got all the redstone back behind it to fire off those devices. And so we also want to have observers pointing up with rails on top of them like so. So each one of the devices is going to have something like this. Each one of the sets of droppers or dispensers is going to have something like this pointed out the back of it. Again, you might need to climb up on scaffolding to be able to place all that. And then same thing over here. So dispensers, oops, that one's not pointing properly. There we go. And then dispensers facing up, like so. Get rid of the temporary block. And same thing back here. Again, I'm placing all 4 of them, even though there's only one dropper here. And that's largely just to show you that that there's room to set up all 4 of them if you wanted to. This is me from the future, and I need to make a correction because I realized when I was building this that this set of observers, this is facing the front of the machine. This one is actually set up wrong, so we don't want it there. We actually want it on the side over here. So if we place a block here, we want the observers like so. And then observers facing up, like so, and like so. Sorry for that. Alright, and then come on to the back, and right below these redstone lamps, you're going to want to place pistons. The middle 2 are going to point outwards towards yourself, and then the 2 edge ones are going to point straight down. And then you're going to attach observers to the faces of each of those pistons, and they are all going to face down like so. I highly recommend you color code these circuits to avoid confusion. I'm going to use lime for the experience, which is going to be behind button number 3 right here. So we'll place a block underneath this observer. That's just a temporary block. We want to come out 1 block back. That's the block we want to keep. And then we want to place a slab like so underneath that block, and then another solid block right there. We don't need that. Instead, we want to place a redstone repeater set to 2 ticks. And then we want to come down like that and get rid of that block. And then we want to come down again and place another block towards the back here. And then we'll make like a T shape here. And then we will need another solid block like that. So we got this kind of shape right here. And then you want to place a comparator there pointing towards the back, and then another comparator pointing towards the front right there, and then redstone on these 2 blocks and redstone on that block. And then we want to do the same thing right next to it, only mirrored. This one's going to be orange for golden carrots behind button number 2. So we place a block right there, place slab, another solid block. We can get rid of this right here. This is just a guideline. And get rid of this. And then Redstone Repeater, 2 ticks, very important, 2 ticks. And come down 2 blocks, get rid of the middle one. Come down another block and then go back. And then make that T shape. And then place another block up like that. And then a comparator will point backwards. And then on this side, the comparator will point forwards. And then redstone on these 2 blocks and redstone on that block. Next, we'll do the purple circuit for the ender pearls. And it is a very similar circuit. It's just positioned a little bit differently. We want to come down below this observer, 2 blocks. So a block of air between that and that. Then again, slab and solid block, redstone repeater on 2 ticks. Come down 2 blocks, get rid of the middle one, come down another block and then come back and make the T shape. So, and then another block up, again, comparator facing back, comparator facing forward, redstone, redstone, and then redstone on the back. Same design, only mirrored on the other side for the yellow circuit. I'm sorry if these are a little hard to build in survival. I did build it in survival myself, so I know that it is possible, and I've ordered everything in an order that doesn't get you like stuck inside of the machine, which would be very possible if you built it in a different order. So same basic thing, down 1 block of air between the observer and this block here, redstone repeater on 2 ticks on top of a slab, and then a solid block. Come down 2 blocks, come down another block and then back and make the T shape, and then another solid block right up there, comparator pointing towards the back, comparator pointing towards the front, redstone here, and redstone right there. Future me again, the front-facing block of this T on the yellow circuit actually needs to be a slab. Otherwise, when current runs through it, it will power this rail right here, which you do not want. So go ahead and knock that out, replace it with a slab, and come back around and put redstone on top of it. Next, you're going to want to place a piston facing down under the back blocks of all 4 of these circuits here. So right here and right here. And then on this side, right there, and then right there. And each of these is going to have an observer sticking out of it. So on these 2 back ones, they're going to be observers facing up. So you need a temporary block there, and then place an observer facing up like that. So the face of it will actually be pointing down. Same thing here, like so. And then on this one, you want it facing the outside of the machine, so that the face is facing towards the inside. And on this one, you want it facing the back, so that the face of it is facing the front. Next, we want to set up the observer chains that will fire off the dispensers or droppers. And the purple one is the easiest to set off, so you just want to place an observer right there so that their faces will meet when the piston extends. So the redstone signal should be pointing towards the inside. And just place 2 more blocks behind it, and when this observer goes off, this one will detect it and it'll fire off this dropper. The yellow one is also quite easy to set up. Again, just observer right there facing forward with the redstone signal, and then 2 more facing forward, and then come over this direction, and right underneath this observer here, place another observer, and it's got to be facing towards the inside of the machine. And then when that one fires, it'll fire off all of these droppers. The other 2 observer chains require a bit more gymnastics. So we want to start here with the green one, the lime one, and we need an observer pointing down. You need to like really get snug in with that block in order to do that. Or you could just dig a hole in the ground. And so remove the block in between them. So we got an observer facing down, and then come onto this side, and you want 4 observers going forward. There we go. And then 1 observer going to the outside. And then we need 1 more observer pointing down, like that. And then 1 observer pointing forward again. And so that chain will fire off the lime circuit and fire off these droppers right here, dispensers. And for the orange circuit, once again, we need an observer facing down, like so. And then we come back 1, 2, 3, 4 blocks. And these all need to be facing forward. And then we need an observer facing down, right there. And then we need an observer facing towards the inside. And then come around to the other side. And we need an observer facing forward and another observer facing forward. And that one will fire off this set of dispensers, droppers. Next, we want to set up the hoppers. And for the front side, it's fairly easy. You want to use the front side of both of these sets of droppers or dispensers, like so. And I recommend doing all 4 no matter what, even if there isn't anything there. That just sets up the hopper chain correctly for what we need to do later. And then from the back side, we've got the purple ones over here. So again, facing back on these, do all 4. And then on this side, we've got the yellow ones, I believe, right there. Quick correction here, the hoppers on the back near the purple circuit here, these actually need to be pointed towards the right. We're already loading these dispensers for the bottles of Enchanted. Those are loaded from the front. We want to load this dropper right here with ender pearls. And then we can set the actual hopper chains up. So this hopper right here, right underneath the purple block, place a hopper facing into it. See that's facing in. And then place a double chest, the other half of it on top of this observer right here. And that will help you give you some excess item storage. And then place a hopper on top of that one facing straight down into it. And then we actually want to remove this half slab right here and place a hopper facing into the other hopper. And then let's put the repeater back. It's facing outward and it's going to be on 2 ticks. And then we'll come back 1 more block with a hopper and place a chest on top of that. For the rocket hoppers, we want to place a chest on top of these 4 hoppers and then place a hopper on top of it pointing downwards. Then another hopper pointing into that one that's back 1 block. And then come over to this side, place another hopper pointing into there. And then again, we're going to remove this half slab. And we're going to place a hopper there. Make sure to replace the repeater on 2 ticks facing outward. And then another hopper right here. And we're going to place a chest. And for this one, you want to place a double chest because there's not many other places to fit storage. So we want a little bit of extra storage right there. And then you're going to want to come around front and place a hopper pointing into this hopper right here. This is for the experience orbs. And just come around to this side like so. And come around in this last block here. And then point a hopper into there. And guess what? We're going to remove these 2 blocks under the comparators. And put those there. And then we want another hopper just past the lime. And then again, you want to make sure you replace those comparators. The one on the outside is pointing towards the back. The one on the inside is pointing towards the front. And then place a double chest pointing backwards. So the second block is going to be right there. And then place a hopper pointing into it. And then a single chest right there. And then for the hoppers that feed the carrots, you can actually just mirror what we did on the other side. But there's a way that's slightly more space efficient. Is we can just have hoppers pointing into here, have 3 of them like that, and then come over the observer like this. You can actually replace this rail with a hopper and it will still work fine. And then we want to take out this half slab, make sure to replace the repeater. And then you want to come back here and then once again take out these 2 blocks, hopper facing into those hoppers, and then come over to the inside for 3 blocks like so, or 2 blocks. And then again, the hopper on the outside faces towards the back. The hopper on the inside faces toward the front. Double chest here. Hopper on top of it facing down. And then a single chest. It's a good idea to place some light sources at this time. These will keep the redstone from causing lag by causing light updates. So some good places to put some lights will be right on top of these hoppers here, right next to the repeaters, and then down underneath. You want to place some under this lime block and underneath this orange block. and these will keep mobs out of there as well. Next, we're going to set up these detector lights. So right behind the lights themselves, place upside down half slabs like so. And then right above these two observers here, place two more upside down half slabs. And then place comparators facing the front on all 6 of these. And then come down to this side right here. And right next to this chest, right on the hopper underneath it, place a red block. That's for the detector circuit. And then place a comparator pointing outwards on top of it. And then back here as well. So these 2 top hoppers right here, we want comparators pointing out of those as well. So you need a red block, 1 block lower underneath those. And then over here, place a red block. And then right in front of the chest, we want the chest pointing outwards. This one's going to be a little bit tough. You can move that block if you need to. If it'll help, just make sure to replace it. Like so. So here's when you need to tear apart the floor a little bit, because you need an observer facing up on top of this comparator right here. Like so. And you might as well do this one as well. And then you want to come outward from this one, 1 block. And then you want to come back for 2 blocks, like so. And then you want to come up 1. Again, you might need to tear apart this wall a little bit to do that in survival. And then you want to come back 1. And then you want to come up 4, like so. And then back 1. And then place a sticky piston facing inwards towards the middle. Then right under that, you've got this comparator right here. Place an observer pointing up, place another one, place a red block like so, and then place a sticky piston facing upwards. On the other side, you've got the same basic thing. So we've got this observer that we already placed here. You want to come out like that, and then come across these hoppers going back, and then up 1, like so, and then back 1, like so, and then up to the same level, should be 4, like that, and then back 1, and then sticky piston pointing inwards. And then come down here to this other comparator that's kind of buried in there a little bit, and you want 2 observers pointing outwards like that, 2 up, red block on top of it, and then a sticky piston right here on top of that light source. Right now, you have a choice that you can make. If you want the lights to be on all the time and then to go off when the inventory is low, then you want to place the cauldrons attached to the backs of the comparators like so. If you want the lights to be off most of the time and then to go on when the inventory is low, then you want to place the cauldrons attached to the sticky pistons themselves. And that's the way I'm going to do it. But you can do it either way. And then make sure to fill each of these cauldrons with water. It can be a bottle of water, it can be a full bucket, doesn't really matter as long as it creates a signal in the comparator. It's future me again. I'm sorry, I actually reversed that. The dispensers are empty right now, so if we want the lights to go on when inventory is low, they should actually be on right now because inventory is low. And to do that, we actually want to do the other configuration that I showed, which is the cauldrons right up against the comparators like so. And the configuration that I just changed it from is a configuration that'll make the lights go off when the inventory is low. I hope I didn't make that too confusing. This is the why inventory is low right now, the lights are on. If you wanted to save a little space in the back and you didn't want to set up the sorting system, what you could do is you could just place 4 chests up here instead of just the 1. And you wouldn't want solid blocks above these. You'd use stairs or half slabs or something like that. And then you can do a hopper chain that comes up like so, and then over like this. And you do that 4 times, once for each chest. And the chests are already in the same order that they are up here. So you will resupply each item just by filling the chest above it. You can also just forego these chests entirely and just resupply the items internally through these 4 chests down here, if that's what you wanted to do. If you do either of those, you can skip the next step where I show you how to set up the sorting system. I'm going to do the sorting system in cyan. So come out back behind these chests and place a temporary block and then a cyan block. And you want to place 4 blocks across like so. And then place redstone torches on the fronts of each of these blocks so that they face the chests. And then you want to come back and down 1 block. That'll actually be in the dirt here. And place 4 more cyan blocks. And place repeaters facing the front of the machine like that. And then you want 4 more cyan blocks back behind that. And then on top of the first blocks that we placed, and then back 1, and then front 1, you want to place 3 more sets of 4 blocks like so. And then on the front of these blocks, place redstone comparators pointing to the back like so. And then place redstone dust on all the rest of these blocks, including the one that's down 1 block. And then we will place our hoppers. So on top of each of these 4 chests, put a hopper facing down, like so. And then place a hopper on top of that, and it's going to point into the comparator, like so. And you want to do that for all 4 of these. And then come over here, and you can place a chest against this piston right here. And then place a line of repeaters that point into that chest. This is going to be your overflow chest, or if any items don't match the sorting system, they'll go into that chest. And you want to come up 1 block, and then back over here like that, and then run it under the chest so that the items will feed from the chest over to here, down this block, across all of these. They'll check and see if it's sorted, and if anything doesn't get sorted, or if on one of your items are full, it'll go into this chest. Then we need to set up the actual filters for the sorting systems. I like using renamed items just to make sure that I don't ever put those items through the system. Netherrack is usually plentiful, but it can be any item that stacks to 64, and just name it to whatever. I like using symbols just to make sure that, you know, it's not something I'm going to run into again. And then you want to place in these hoppers that are pointed towards the comparator. In each of them, place 4 of these filter items in the back 4 slots, like so. And then I usually make sure to get rid of them, just to make sure that I don't put them through the system at any point in the future. And then the sorting system is going to go in the same order, except we're backwards right now. So this one is going to be rockets. This one's going to be carrots. This one's going to be experience. And this one's going to be ender pearls. And it will drop down to 41 items for each of these, except for the ender pearls, which will drop to 10. And that's fine. That'll work just fine. So the sorting system's all set. You can feed all the items through the chop chest if you wanted to, but for your first time, you might want to prime the items manually yourself. So you can feed the items into these chests if you want to, but you may actually want to go down into the dispensers and fill those manually yourself, because otherwise it'll take a really long time for it to fill everything. Once you've got everything filled though, restocking it through this main chest will work just fine. It's just for that initial run, you may want to go through and actually manually put all the items in. A few final touches for the back. First of all, place a light source right there for the same reason we put the light sources down there. And second of all, you can kind of see around the chest. So you might want to place some blocks around the chest and then like slabs or stairs up above it and a block behind it. That'll make it so you can't really see through. And then you might want to do something with all these hoppers. Hoppers cause a little bit of lag because they will scan the world to see if items are on top of them. And there are certain items that you can place on top of them that will stop them from doing that. In 1.14, composters actually work the best. And if you're not in 1.14, you want to use droppers instead. But I'm in 1.14, so I'm going to use composters and make sure to get these hoppers right there as well. That'll stop a little bit of lag from happening. We just have one last thing to do, and that is to set up the water. So you can just come down here and you can place 5 buckets of water going all the way up if you want. I find it's a little bit easier to just place 1 bucket of water up at the top and then to come on down to the bottom and plant kelp going all the way up. Either way, once you've got 5 water sources in there, you want to come down to the bottom and knock out this solid block, whatever it was, and replace it with a soul sand. And that will turn this into a bubble column. And then you can put this floor block back. And then you can put something in here if you want. You can just leave it like that. Or you can put stairs in. You can put a half slab. Just make sure you're not blocking off the water. Like so. That wouldn't work very well. But I like it like that. Whatever you prefer. If you wanted this to dispense more than 64 items, you just have to go underground a little further with it. So this is 1 block underneath this, and so we need 2, 3, 4. If we wanted to do 128, we'd do 4 more of these. We've got the observers facing forward like so. And then also, same thing here. And then you'd have to do a little bit extra observer gymnastics here. So this is the observer that would have fired it off normally. There was an observer underneath this one, and we had to move that. So we actually want to, we don't want that actually like where it is right now, because it'll fire off this rail an extra time. So you don't want that. So come down under here. Like that. And that should be the one. Yep, this is the one. So come down, down. Quite a few blocks here. You'd actually want to get 1 block underneath this one. And then come across like that. Hope that makes sense. But you just want the observer chain to come down and around. And then to fire off that. And that'll fire off all 8 of these observers. And then of course you'd need more droppers here. You need hoppers going all the way down to supply it, and you would also need the water channel to go down further as well. And you could do that with all of these as well. You just got to be creative about how you set up these observer chains. And then it's all set. So you can style this up however you want. You can cover up the underground redstone by placing a floor along the ground level. You can place a building around it, whatever you want. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions or any confusion or any way that I can help. I'd be happy to help in any way that I can. Thank you very much for watching. Have a good one and enjoy your contraption.